Live well now with Dr. Lauren.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Lauren Powell, and this is another episode of Live Well Now, where I teach you practical tools, tips, and strategies to help you live better now, because we know that in order to live better later, there's some things that we have to do right now to do so. So I'm actually in my kitchen because I just came down the stairs because I'm gonna do a cooking video a little bit later. I'm preparing some food for a luncheon, but I came across this article and I thought I would share it and discuss it with you. There's been a lot of conversation about menopause, and so I thought this was a great take to discuss, given that this is about menopause and carbohydrates. So today I'm going to be teaching you about why some carbs can make menopause worse and what to eat instead. So menopause, there's been a lot of buzz about menopause. And it's not just about getting older. It's about this hormonal shift that happens. And really, as women, our hormones start to change around age 35. Now, menopause is defined as 1 year without a cycle. But kind of all that time where your hormones are changing and you haven't actually gone through that full year is perimenopause. Now, some women experience menopause very different. Some people go through menopause and they're like, yeah, I just didn't really feel anything different. I mean, it's just like, I just stopped having cycles and that was it. And that's wonderful. And then some women are on the other extreme. They have hot flashes. They have, issues with weight and mood, and they can't sleep, and they're noticing changes in their hair and in their body, and they're having GI symptoms, cardiovascular. They're having lots of symptoms of menopause. And then, so it's this whole spectrum. And then you have a lot of people that are somewhere in between, where they have some symptoms, some mild symptoms, some things that may last for a short period of time. And then again, you have people on the extreme who are having lots of symptoms for a long period of time. Everybody is different, right? So we treat the person because each person is a different and individual. So every woman is guaranteed to go through menopause. And I think we have to remember that, because I'll have men patients come and, they want to talk about their testosterone and things like that. With men, your testosterone will change with age. Whether you have significant changes, that may or may not happen. But for women, it is guaranteed that you will have a significant change in your hormones. It's 100% guaranteed. So this article specifically focused on carbohydrates. Now, I know like you, like me, we just try to avoid the carbs, right? We love the carbs, we avoid the carbs. We watch out for our sweets and treats. We watch out for our breads and our pastas and our rices and our breads and all of that stuff, right? We just try to avoid it because carbs are bad, right? That's like we just don't want to eat carbs. But this article went further. It's not just about the carbs, but this study specifically studied the quality of carbs. So it's not about how much, but it's about the quality of the carbs that you are consuming. And so they use this carbohydrate quality index to determine the quality of carbs, and then how that affected people in menopause and their menopausal symptoms. So first, let's go through this carbohydrate quality index. It's also throughout this article, and I'll make sure that you guys have the link to this article so that you can read and study further for yourselves. But CQI, carbohydrate quality index, CQI is how they kind of annotated it throughout the article. So they created a CQI score, and it was based on 4 criteria. The first criteria was glycemic index. You may have heard me talk about glycemic index. Glycemic index is how much your blood sugar rises after consuming something. So if I eat an apple, my blood sugar will rise some, right? Because I'm consuming something that has carbohydrates. If I drink a sweet tea or lemonade that has lots of sugar, my blood sugar is going to rise a lot. So that thing has a higher glycemic index, rather than something that has a smaller glycemic index that doesn't raise my blood sugar as much. So that was one of the criteria. The other criteria was fiber intake. So how much fiber is in the actual item. Whether it was a solid versus a liquid carbohydrate. So there's a reason why when, diabetics, if they have low blood sugar, they may drink some orange juice and immediately their blood sugar goes up, because liquid carbohydrates increase your blood sugar faster than something that's a solid or a whole food, because whole food's got to be digested, it's got to be broken down. Oftentimes there's fiber and other things in there. So they compared whether the carbohydrate was a liquid versus a solid. So was it a sugary beverage or drink, or was it a solid whole form carbohydrate? And then they looked at the whole grain ratio. So they looked at the ratio of whole grains to refined grains that were in this particular item. We all know what whole grains are. Refined grains are going to be the more of the process. So how much of it was processed versus whole grain? Okay, the study involved 604 postmenopausal women, so that was a great number of people, and they used these two tools to kind of assess their menopause symptoms. One is called the MENQOL, so the menopause specific quality of life. So this was a questionnaire, and it talked about their different symptoms, and it kind of qualified them. And then the MRS, which is the menopause rating system, again, quantifying menopausal symptoms in individuals, and they use these validated tools. So let's talk about the key findings. So quality wins. And I think we all knew that, and that's what we were getting to in this whole conversation is women who had the highest quality of carbs, so women whose highest quality is going to be rated as a Q5, so highest quality, meaning lowest glycemic index, highest fiber intake, lots of whole grains, they had fewer and less severe menopause symptoms compared to those who were eating low quality carbs, Q1 group. So the refined things, the liquid things, the low fiber things. And here are some specific links that they found in the articles. The high glycemic index foods, so the juices and the sweets, the highly processed things that raise our blood sugar very quickly by a lot. Those rapid blood sugar spikes triggered inflammatory pathways. And we already know that, like, high blood sugar is an inflammatory process. And so that worsened menopausal symptoms. Mood and depression, diets that had high glycemic index, they were linked to increased depressive symptoms, while whole grains, fruits, and vegetables, those were inversely related to depressive symptoms. So people that consumed more fruits, more vegetables, those people had less depressive symptoms related to their menopause. And then bone health, this makes sense. High fiber food intake was linked to better bone mineral density, thereby putting those patients at decreased risk for osteoporosis. So they literally were having stronger bones. So why is this? Like, what is the mechanism behind, higher quality carbohydrates being linked to less severity of menopausal symptoms versus those that are, very poor quality carbohydrates, worse menopausal symptoms? And I think we know that, when we consume high glycemic index sugary things, it causes a big spike in insulin. And it causes that huge, so right, you eat something, your sugar spike, your pancreas releases insulin. Insulin then comes and it acts almost like a key, and it allows your body to use that sugar. So when you're consuming large quantities of low quality carbohydrates, you're having these constant spikes of blood sugar, these constant surges of insulin, and then insulin goes down, and then it surges of it, and then it goes down, and it almost makes this this cycle that just, because then when insulin spikes, then you're hungry, and then it becomes this cycle again, right? So when you eat high quality carbohydrates, so low glycemic index, high fiber, it helps maintain a hormone called sex hormone binding globulin. And this helps just regulate hormone balance in the body. So everything overall is just remaining more balanced. And I thought this was an interesting finding as well, is that refined carbs, so really highly processed carbohydrates, they're linked to a decrease in potential for healthy aging. So that means if you're consuming just really poor quality carbohydrates, the white rice, like white bread, potato chips, just highly processed carbohydrates, your potential to age well is decreased. So I think that speaks to why we care about what we put in our body now, right? Maybe you're someone who's not in the menopause or perimenopausal stage, but this is why what you eat now matters now, because you will care about menopause when you're in that age demographic, right? And so what we eat now truly affects our potential of how we're going to age later in the future. So, okay, Dr. Powell, you've given me all this stuff. I'm clear. I want to eat more quality carbohydrates, no matter what specific, for sure if I'm going through menopause, but now even as someone who's just thinking about my future self, I want to make sure that I'm eating well now. So what does that mean? So let me give you some practical steps. So swap the grains. So when you think about white rice, white bread, let's try to switch to whole grains, brown rice, quinoa, oats. Watch the liquids. So, I really don't like my adult patient, really, drinking juice. Like, why are we drinking juice? If you want to make a smoothie and use whole fruit and make it yourself, that's great. But I just don't think we should be consuming juice on a regular basis. It is really just a waste of carbohydrates. It's a waste of sugar. It's a waste of calories, and it does nothing for your body. You want to have lots of vitamin C, eat an orange. You don't have to drink orange juice, okay? That's just my little personal opinion. Okay, prioritize fiber. So we want to aim for fiber levels. So women, we should be consuming between 25 and 30-ish grams of fiber a day. Usually doesn't happen by accident. We usually have to be very intentional about that, but that's important. Something else they found in this study is that marital and social support. So the study found that married women had higher CQI scores. So women that were married were eating higher quality carbohydrates. So I think we do have to discuss the role that like having a partner or having a good social circle plays in eating well. And I mean, I think if we just think about that, I know like I'm married, right? And when my husband here and my kid is here, I'm cooking and I'm making sure that we're eating well. But sometimes my husband is out of town. And if he's out of town, like I'm not gonna go through, I'm more likely to just eat something easy. I'm not gonna like cook. I may grab carry out. I'm more likely to do those things when it's just me. And so I think we do have to think about the role that social support and relationships and all that plays in the quality of food that we eat. Takeaways for you all. You don't have to fear carbs. Carbs are not all bad. It's about the quality of carbs and less about the quantity of carbs. Better carb quality isn't about just stopping hot flashes. It's about protecting your heart. It's about protecting your bones for the next 30 years, right? And we're not just concerned about our health right now. We're concerned about our health in the future. So tell me what you think. If there's some carbs that you think you can switch out right now, I want you to tell me in the comments. If you're like, yeah, I'm done drinking juice. Like you just gave me enough evidence that I don't need to be drinking soda. That was enough for me. You just gave me evidence that I don't need to just be eating white bread every day, like for my sandwiches for lunch. I can make a switch to whole grain. So if there's a swap that you know that you can make that's super easy, I want you to share it in the comments. Let us all learn from each other. I'm gonna put the link to this article. I thought it was a really good read and I would encourage you to take a listen to. My name is Dr. Lauren Powell. This has been another episode of Live Well Now, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye for now.